What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and can you believe it? We have made it to the end of our little explanation about elements, with today looking at number 4 in the cycle, water. So yeah, let's jump into it. The element of water is associated with the signs of Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. We are now in Cancer season. Very cool. And it also rules the 4th, 8th, and 12th houses. Obviously, there being 12 signs, 4 elements, so we're going to have our multiples of 4 here. Watery descriptions are well suited to this element: fluid, flowing, wavering, very ebb and flow. These terms can easily be applied to an individual's emotions, the realm where water most powerfully exerts its influence. That's why Pisces is generally considered to be an emotional little bitch. I'm sorry, I don't mean that to be hate speech or whatever, but they generally are considered to be that way. It's not Pisces' fault that they're also a mutable sign, which doesn't help with the wavering. But yeah, look, Pisces gets a bad rap, okay? So does Scorpio. In fact, all of the water signs really get a bad rap. But hey, Cancer sitting at the top of the elliptical. He knows what's going on. She knows what's going on. They know what's going on. So water signs are intuitive and sensitive, and they feel more intensely than the rest, which makes complete fucking sense, because aside from my major 3, my Uranus and my Neptune sign, and yes, I will continue to pronounce the planet that way, because saying it the other way makes immature people giggle, and the primordial god of the sky does not deserve that. But aside from those 5 signs, my entire chart is flooded. I have 4 signs in Scorpio. My Mars is a Cancer, I believe, and I want to say Saturn is a Pisces. And then yeah, the others aside from my major 3 are Scorpio, which is Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Pluto. So I am quite an emotional boy. They are emotional and nurturing, and like a river, they run deep. So I'm going to be vibing with you water signs the entire way through here. How things feel is what matters to these folks, and they base their actions on sense rather than on logic or intellect. Now, this is the conflict that I have, being a Libra, which is an air sign, which represents logic and intellect. I do both. I go, what makes the most logical sense? And then I start working my way down until I find what makes the most emotional sense, so that I have sort of the greatest overlap of them both to be like, that's the way forward. And that's generally how I figure things out. And being a Libra, that can sometimes mean that there isn't really a way, like a great way forward, which just perpetuates the I am indecisive part. Water is also compassionate and understanding, since the receptive talents of these individuals are remarkably high. Okay? If someone's given you shit for being a Cancer or a Scorpio or a Pisces because they think that you are just so emotional that it's ridiculous, you need to look at them dead in the face and be like, I understand where you're coming from. And I disagree with you, but I still love you. And just show them that compassion and understanding, and just blow them away and just be like, that's right, I am emotionally more mature than you. Because having your emotions ruled by a particular sign does not mean that you're going to, that's going to be your immediate downfall. You know what I mean? Like, it's also your greatest strength is your emotions. Water sign people can take in the feeling of others, process them, and put forth a plan or solution that can be conscientious to all. In fact, I'm pretty sure a large part of how I'm able to be such an empath is the fact that my my birth chart is flooded. It is inundated. Those graced by water love to take their sense of the world and translate it into the artistic. Yes. Yes, we do. They desire aesthetic beauty and for everyone to be happy as a result of that beauty. Much like still water can become stagnant, however, an inactive water sign person is not at their best. And wouldn't you know it, between air signs and water signs, mental illness kicks us right between the legs. Because I don't think it matters what gender or gender identity you are. Someone kicks you there, you are vulnerable. So, yeah. If you're emotionally not feeling well, which can come from having a mental illness as a water sign, which, again, most of my chart is, yeah, finding the motivation to do things again is difficult, to say the least. Water signs feel most fulfilled when they are helping others. That's where that comes from. Okay. And they do so in an enchanting, considerate, and even romantic way. Because let's also not forget the fact that love is an emotion. So, yeah. The flip side of this dreamy, watery world is the tendency of these individuals to brood. Water signs are susceptible to mood swings, and at their worst, they could become self-indulgent, controlling, and hostage to a fantasy world. So if you're a water sign, please keep that in mind. Please keep that in mind. I mean, the odd occasional self-indulgence is good, but if it becomes like a habit, that's when it becomes bad. No one likes being controlled, and I'm sure no one likes being controlling. So this is more one of those try and be self-aware situations, which, thank God, I'm an air sign in my sun sign, because that helps with being self-aware. I have told that I can be controlling and manipulative, so it's something I'm working on myself. So I do know that that's a big issue for water signs. And hostage to a fantasy world. Look, are you really hostage if you went there willingly? And if that particular fantasy world that you live in, up in your head, is better than the real world, even if it's based on the real world, like, on that particular note, you do you. If living in that fantasy world, so that you don't tell your boss how much of a massive cunt he is, allows you to keep your job, then you do you. I'm not here to judge. I'm not. I get it. However, this also brings up the ability of these folks, of these watery men and women, to see things more clearly than others. Call it psychic, if you will. I'm going to call it empathic, because psychic leans more into a mind's eye sort of a thing, which is an air sign thing, not a water sign thing. But you are able to sort of see things more clearly, particularly if you are able to, and this is a fun little ability you have, keep your emotions in check better than most other people, meaning that you can come down and be a little bit more level-headed, which does start to border on that idea of thought processes as well. So yeah, look, if there's a Cancer out there who has a Libra moon and a Aries rising, one, and that's a lot of cardinal in your big three, and by a lot I mean you are completely cardinal in your big three. But two, it means that you're at the center of yourself, you're able to sort of control your emotions, etc. The moon then controls emotions itself, and if they're being ruled by a sign that is an air sign, it means that the emotions are going to be ruled through what makes the most logical sense right now, sort of a lens, you know. So like, does it make sense for me to be angry at this minor inconvenience right now? No, then I'm not. And then the mask you put up is this just like go get a extrovert, like super extroverted, like let's just go in there and do it sort of a thing. So yeah, that person could probably rule the world. They are a master of themselves, especially with a lot of cardinal activity. It's very much driven, would be a word that person would be. Water signs are emotional, empathetic, receptive, and feel things deeply. Alternately calm at the sea or possessing the force of torrential rain, the emotions brought forth by this element are plentiful indeed. As always with our element videos, let's have a look at each one individually. So our first one, obviously, Cancer, which is the sign we are in. Cancer is the cardinal sign, which makes them able to take decisive action and manifest their dreams swiftly. The irony of cardinal signs being able to do that, and Libra being a cardinal sign, but most known for their indecision. Go figure. Anyway, Cancers are known as the providers of the zodiac. They take care of their loved ones as breadwinners and nurturers. Okay, so that decisive action and manifesting their dreams, that's what that looks like. It looks like their dreams are, I want to make sure that these people are taken care of, because that's going to be where they get their greatest sense of happiness from, essentially. And that couldn't be more true for me. Cancer's in my Mars. Mars is aggression and action, I think. So that makes a bit of sense. My actions are to provide. Okay, cool. The crab's ability to crawl between the ocean and shore allows them to exist between the emotional land and the material world. So, as far as water signs go, Cancer is the closest to being an earth sign, is essentially what it's getting at here. And like a crab, they take special care of their home and special care of their home and are particularly comfy there. Once you're in the grasp of Cancer's claws, you can expect to remain in their clutches forever. If a situation or person makes them uncomfortable, they'll hold on with all of their mighty situational person makes them comfortable, rather. They'll hold on with all of their mighty strength. Scorpio, the other October babies. Scorpio is the fixed water sign. Now, fixed signs generally can be seen as being a little bit more stubborn because of that fixed modality. Their thought processes and sort of the way they express and think and do comes down to a sort of a core where at that core, if they have got their mind on the road goes this way, then the road goes that way, and they will not deviate. They are fixed to that path. So if a block comes up, it could A, be the end of the world, or it could B, and hopefully this is the positive side. B is, okay, well that is no longer the goal, this is now the goal, and this is now the path, and they will put a curve in it, and they'll go to a different sort of smaller goal sort of thing in order to get there. If they were smart enough to plan ahead and planned in smaller steps, they'll have those little plan Bs at every step of the way, so that if they get there and plan A is not going according to plan, they can immediately jump onto plan B and continue forward. But yeah, otherwise, if that planning hasn't happened to begin with, fixed signs can generally be pretty stubborn. Now, because of their passionate nature, they're often mistaken for a fire sign, which honestly makes a lot of sense. Leos are a fire sign ruled by the sun. Aries is a fire sign ruled by Mars. And I believe Scorpio is also ruled by Mars. So when the only other sign ruled by your planet is a fire sign, and one of the other signs with your fixed modality is ruled by an actual ball of fire, then yeah, you could see how Scorpios could be confused for being a fire sign sometimes. Also, the very next sign in the zodiac is a fire sign. It's Sagittarius. So yeah, all pointing to Scorpio was almost a fire sign. However, their intense energy stands second to their intuition. And although they might seem guarded first, trust that they have some intense feelings. They are intense. They are intense. I have, of all of the signs in my zodiac, I have the largest portion of it being Scorpio. 4 signs out of, I think it's a total of 11. Second to Scorpio is my Capricorns, and there's 2 of them. And then there's 1 of everybody else. So Scorpio is standing above everybody, being like, this me, bitch. So yeah, some intense feelings. I can vouch to that. Particularly for me, romantic feelings. Scorpio rules Venus, Venus rules Libra, and I'm a Libra. So when the planet that rules my sun sign is this bitch, it generally starts to, yeah, and like I said, the other October babies, I'm an October baby, these guys can be October babies too. Yeah. pretty sure I'm on a spiritual level, I'm a Scorpio. But anyway, Scorpios rely on their gut feelings first and foremost, and generally I do. I have found that to be a thing. I will obviously I'll go, okay, what does my heart want me to do? What does my head want me to do? Okay, well, my gut instinct says the middle ground would be this, and that's what I'll take. And so it can sometimes take a second to be like, okay, well, what are, you know, the logical and emotional sides of me wanting, you know, like, emotionally, this is what I want, but logically it doesn't make sense. Logically, it wants to go over here, so I've got to be like, look, middle ground's that, make that the goal. And that's generally what I'll go for. And it says here, that they rely on their gut feelings first and foremost, even before logic and reason. Their emotions run hot and high, the good old Scorpios, making them unable to turn off their feels. Oh, that's where that's from. Look, I'm learning more about myself in this video than I have in doing any of the others. Because like I said, most of my chart's water, and of those 6, right, which is more than half of those 6, 4 of them are Scorpio. So Scorpio definitely has my majority. So this little paragraph is just calling me the fuck out. Prepare to be stung if you hurt a Scorpio, as their poisonous and venomous stings will come out if you dare to portray this transformative sign. And look, it doesn't help that my sun sign, the core of my being, my ego, is ruled by the fucking scales. Because it could be, you know, you hurt me, I will hurt you. And that's, yeah. And then we put Krabby Boy on the Mars, which is aggression, and it doesn't end well. It doesn't end well. And then last but not least, the Pisces. Honestly, the most misunderstood sign, to be completely honest, but here's the good parts about you guys. Mysticism and dreaminess consume the heart of tender Pisces, the mutable water sign. Their emotions change rampantly. That part is true. But notice that change doesn't have to be negative. And it takes them a long time to make a permanent decision. Hi, I'm Libra. I also can't make a decision. They're imaginative and prone to daydreaming. Wow, okay, this is where those bits are coming from. Living like they're in a fairy tale. So yeah, no, I am 26 and still daydream. I still, yeah. I've had exes and friends and stuff in the past be like, you're childish because of the way that I act, or because I'm like, ooh, yeah, no, I would love to have a new Lego set. Which, I mean, come on, who the fuck doesn't want a new Lego set? But yeah, no, so it's, yeah, it is, that's what it is. It's cool. So yeah, so they're imaginative and prone to daydreaming, living like they're in a fairy tale, but once they finally commit to a feeling, they can easily swim away from ties that hold them down, which is good. It's a good thing, okay? Once you decide, because essentially what that's saying is that all of the water signs, Pisces is repping loyalty and fidelity like no other motherfucker, okay? Once they decide, I love you, that's it. That's it. Anyone that's trying to convince them otherwise, bye bitch, you gone. So, however, that can then come under the manipulation of other people. So Pisces, please be careful. Pisces are the ones that need to be looking out for red flags the most, because those red flags are not red flags, they are fishing hooks. And you will get reeled in, you will get descaled, filleted, and cooked up with some chips, okay? So please, Pisces babies, be careful. Pisces are known as the psychics and creatives of the zodiac. They use their artistry to create the world they want, even if it exists only in their head. And look, like I said, that's like, how could you not love a Pisces? Let's be completely honest, how could you not love a Pisces? I think for me, being a Libra, Pisces to Gemini is sort of like the sweet spot, with Aries being the polar opposite sign, Taurus being the other one, ruled by Venus. So you just sort of go one either side. Pisces would get along with me great because of their imagination and their artistry, the psychic element to them, and Geminis, well, look, they got their whole two-faced thing, we got our whole I can't make a decision one way or the other thing. So like, you have one of your faces say one thing, I'll say yes to that, have the other face say something else, I'll agree to that, and then it doesn't matter which end of the spectrum we're on, I'm agreeing with you. We've made a decision collectively, so that could work. But anyway, that's last but not least is the houses. So we're looking at 4, 8 and 12. 4. The fourth house is the house ruled by Cancer. It is called Genitor, or the parent house, and is the house of home and family. It rules over ancestry, heritage and roots, foundation and environment, mother or caretaker, housing and the household, any neighborhood matters, comfort, security, tidiness and pets. And is, if we're being completely honest, sorry, my knee is cramping up. If we're being completely honest, ancestry, heritage, roots, that's sort of at the core of my sort of spirituality. My belief system is sort of heavily, like one of the cornerstones, one of the cornerstones is, I'm getting the hiccups, but no, one of those cornerstones is my heritage, housing in the household, and comfort and security are interesting ones for me, particularly though, because I get the proverbial itchy foot if I'm in a place for too long. I don't know, I think it's because we moved around a whole bunch when I was a kid, but I just, for myself, I can't stand to be in a place for more than, when I say we moved around, it was every 18 months to 2 years, but I can generally last up to 4 to 5, so it's, yeah, it's interesting. The 8th house, Scorpio, it is also known as the, it's called Mors, or the Death House, and we're looking at death here in the same light as tarot does, and that is of transformation and change, and its modern name is in fact the House of Transformation. It looks at cycles of death and rebirth, sexual relationships and commitments of all kinds. Hi there. I have commitment issues, and those issues are I committed far too quickly, if we're being a little bit honest. joint funds and finances, which is interesting to me. The joint funds and finances comes into that because your boy Khan has a little bit of issues with savings just on his own. I was doing fine, and then bills had to come all at once, and I have yet to recover, and those bills and stuff came in like 3 months ago. So we're struggling here. We're struggling just a bit. It also rules over other person's resources. So obviously joint funds, finances, other people's resources, meaning that accounting might be a good job for Scorpios. Accounting and accounting. Karma and debt are also in there. Regeneration and self-transformation. So the whole people can't change ideals. A Scorpio is going to look at you sideways and be like, what? Have you heard of this little literary device called character growth? It exists in fictional stories because it also exists in real life non-fiction. So yeah, and then last but not least, Pisces, the house known as Casa, or the Rehabilitation House of Sacrifice. It rules over privacy and refuge, including seclusion and retreating. It rules over the relationships between clandestiny and revelation. It rules of intuition, extremities and abundance, but also addictions, luck and miracles, releasing and relinquishing, healing, forgiveness and peacefulness, as well as finality, completion and conclusion, with Pisces being the last house in the zodiac. And look, last is not least in this scenario, okay? As I've said before, love my Pisces. But yeah. So yeah, so that's all we've got for our water signs. The next video that I will be doing, as far as astrology is concerned, will be looking at the modalities. So our next one will actually be looking at the fixed modality when we go into Leo towards the end of next month. So my Leo babies, you will be, as our second fire sign, you will also be kicking off the next little quote-unquote phase that we've got here, with our fixed signs and what do fixed signs mean. But until then, if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. Don't forget the notification bell if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. Links to the 3 sites that I used here will be down in the description below. I've read them all to you, but just in case you wanted them, so you can show your friends and your family, and sort of try and start to figure out exactly what your whole birth chart means. Hopefully I'm helping you guys figure that out, because I find that is a fun thing, and if you find that's a fun thing, then we can both have fun together, and that means that we can maybe become friends, which is cool. Friends are fun. But yeah, so those links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up, and until next time guys, keep your head screwed on.